Well, the Green MP and party spokesperson for wokeness and intersectionality, Benjamin Doyle, resigned last week. It was a good day, and Parliament became ever so slightly safer for children. Let's check it out. Well, you've got to feel sorry for the Green Party. Well, sort of. I mean, they've had it pretty tough recently. They had to get rid of Elizabeth Kerekere due to allegations of bullying. This was ironic given that she always championed Pink Shirt Day, which was supposed to be against bullying. And then co-leader James Shaw packed it in because he's into the environment and the Greens are now into wokeness, virtue signalling and identity politics. Oh, and James is cis white male. So yeah, gone burger. And then it was lawyer Golriz Garaman who didn't realise that when you go shopping, not paying for stuff is actually a crime. Although I think she was just getting outfits for this protest and just buying a scarf for this charming protest as well. And then it was Darlene Tana. She'd only been an MP since the election, but Darlene Tana, who is no longer welcome in the Party of Diversity, Equity and Inclusion, is not a she. Apparently, no, she is they, them. You'll never walk alone.
Not at all. My pronouns are they, them. I never walk alone, in fact.
Yeah, but then, and I think this may be the reason she was voted out of the Greens, she went back to biology. Yeah, interesting. Although the Greens Pacifica leadership were not happy with the treatment of Darlene Tana. Yes. Within the Greens, there were claims of racism, despite the intersectionality. And then we had the Minister of Anger Management, Julianne Genter.
Ms. Genter, please resume your seat.
Yep, and then we had Pastor Steve, Green MP Steve Abel, who somehow managed to butcher the story of creation into a political statement.
To this bill, I wish we could extend the analogies of Genesis, but just to recall that elegant second verse of the first book of the Bible where the Spirit of God moves across the deep, wherein life was created. And I made the point in the earlier legislation that this is something where science and religion agree. Even before light began, the first interaction of the force of creation was with water. And that waters of the deep as a commons does not belong to anyone in a sense. That's right. Though some have customary claim to it, some have the right of customary claim to it, Mr. Speaker, based on...
Yeah, well, don't tell them who really owns it all, eh? And then the intersectionality of critical race theory exploded in the face of the Green Party.
The Greens had tough discussions to face up to at its AGM, but behind closed doors, it's now clear they were much more serious. 3 Pacifica members resigning, voicing multiple criticisms, including what they say was the party's blatant disregard towards the Greens Pacifica branch following the...
Oh, yeah, okay, not going well. And then it was Tamitha Paul, this one.
I don't give a fuck who talk behind my back, cause the bitch knew better than to let me hear. Hands on my knees, shaking ass. I don't give a fuck who talk behind my back, cause the bitch knew better than to let me hear.
Yeah, that was recorded in Parliament with taxpayer funding. I mean, because we're paying her salary, eh? But she also wants to defund the police.
Where I'm visiting Christchurch Men's Prison and then doing an event at University of Canterbury with Peace Action Ōtautahi to talk about the police and what alternatives we could have to the police and what radical kind of police abolition could look like in real terms.
Oh, okay. And she also argues that we don't want cops on the street protecting people from crime because apparently it makes people less safe.
Some people do not want to see police officers everywhere, and for a lot of people it makes them feel less safe.
Ah, charming. She also lied about the reason people go to prison, told porkies about who goes to prison, and other porkies as well. And then to cap off a really bad year for the Greens, this happened. But then just when you thought it couldn't get worse, this happened. Yes, Benjamin Doyle, said it's my great honour and privilege to be the first non-binary person in Parliament. And Benjamin Doyle uses they, he, ear pronouns, although as you'll see, the media had to do a correction because that has been now updated to they, them, ear. But who's counting? And he describes himself as takatapui and whaikaha, which means disabled. But most concerningly, Benjamin Doyle previously worked at the Burnett Foundation, which was the AIDS Foundation. Yes, that foundation with those offensive and now banned posters that you helped us all complain about. Have a watch of one of the things that he promoted in response to the Mpox outbreak. And I apologise for the offensiveness of this and the sign he's standing in front of. But just so you're aware.
A sexual and public health update for gay, bi guys, trans women and non-binary folks who have casual sex with gay and bi guys. You will have seen the World Health Organization has recently declared Mpox a public health emergency of global...
Yeah, don't change the behaviour. We'll see if we can find a vaccination. But for those who want to see the ideology behind both the government-funded charity, the Burnett Foundation, and the newest member of Parliament in the House of Representatives, who has now just resigned, paid by your tax money. Here's just a couple of images. And once again, I apologise. Highly offensive. But this is what you're funding through the Burnett Foundation, and Benjamin Doyle used to work for them. Yeah, bet you feel like you need a shower now. Now, I'll remind you of his maiden speech. Let's just have a watch to remind you. And when he first appeared, I actually thought that Boy George had entered Parliament. You remember Boy George? I mean, us older ones, eh? I mean, in Parliament, you know, gone are the suits and ties and professional business wear. In Parliament, we now have this. And of course, he's surrounded by the Hamas supporters group, the Green Caucus. Just don't tell the Greens what the Palestinians think about LGBT stuff, etc. So just a couple of clips.
Ko they, them, oku tūkapi. Ko Benjamin Doyle, tōku nei ingoa. Yesterday was International Trans Day of Remembrance. A day to celebrate the gift that is our trans whānau. Let it be known in this house that trans lives are taonga, that ira whiti rights are a te tiriti issue. It is a day to reflect on the tireless work of our trans leaders and elders. The icons who have fought, who have organised, who have existed in the face of enormous vitriolic hate.
Oh yeah, actually I remember that vitriolic hate against trans. It was a shocker. Oh, hang on. That might not be against them. Remember that violence towards the trans people and that trans woman that was assaulted? Oh, wait, it was the other way round. Yeah, whoops. Okay, look, let's get back to the speech.
A hate, I might add, that was imported to Aotearoa by colonisation.
Yes, colonisation. I mean, look at all those colonisers. Boy, I am glad that somebody is finally calling out these colonisers. But then it was time for the intersectionality and victimhood. And you'll note the dance routine by the MP sitting down next to him.
I am proud to be takatapui, queer, non-binary, which means that my gender is expansive and fluid, not muzzled by the strict confines of a suffocating binary.
Suffocating.
If my pronouns confuse you, here's a tip. Just use my name. And if the way I dress causes you concern, I say to you, be more concerned by the contents of my mind than...
Well, yes, that was the issue. We were concerned about the contents of your mind and your ideology. This wasn't going well. And then, of course, TVNZ once again ducked and dived and dodged the real concerns and gushed about Benjamin Doyle on Q&A. And look, he's complaining, but he'll take the salaries and perks of the old-fashioned colonial and patriarchal institution.
This institution is very old-fashioned and has some inherited beliefs and rules that don't fit the context of a modern society. So, I mean, while it may seem like I'm some outlier in how I express myself here, actually, if you look around, there are a lot of people here who in small ways express who they are and challenge those old-fashioned kind of colonial norms, those patriarchal norms.
Oh, patriarchal norms, yeah. And just finally, that outfit that you saw. Oh, and the books. Imagining Decolonization was one of the books, and a book about intimate details. Yeah, I really hope it's not the intimate details from the AIDS Foundation that they want you to know about.
I had to ask permission about how many books I could carry, and I wasn't sure how many I was allowed. But they said, as long as you can carry them. I said, am I allowed to bring a bag? So I have a facsimile of Te Tiriti o Waitangi, of course. Also a copy of Imagining Decolonization. And then the last book I have there is called Intimate Details and Vital Statistics. And I also was inspired by Hana Rafati, who also wore a beret the day.
Are you in the right party?
Absolutely, I am.
Yeah, okay. And then once sworn in, of course, Benjamin Doyle then went on a rampage about making sure we have radical RSE, relationship, sexuality, education, indoctrinating our kids with extreme gender and sexuality ideology, encouraging people to make submissions.
The second thing I would say in my feedback to the ministry is that you want to include gender and takatapui and rainbow identities more genuinely, authentically and consistently across the curriculum framework. Currently, all reference to takatapui and Māori or any cultural sexualities and identities has pretty much been removed from the framework.
Yep, and then he also campaigned and wanted puberty blockers for everyone. On demand.
Interventions like puberty blockers and HRT are crucial to the well-being of the general population, trans and cisgender people alike. That's why the Greens will increase funding for trans, reproductive and gender-affirming healthcare and puberty blockers on demand.
Yeah, so you can see why I would say his resignation last week came as a welcome relief. In the infamous words of a certain national MP, ex-national MP, that day was a good day. But it had nothing to do with the fact that his ideology was dangerous, apparently, according to One News's coverage, or that his social media postings were both offensive and weird. It had nothing to do that he had done nothing in Parliament except for call for puberty blockers and radical RSE. No, according to One News, of course not. He was the victim.
Well, it's important to note straight away that this resignation is nothing to do with anything that the MP has done. Rather, it is in response to the threats of violence and the vitriol that they and their family have experienced. Now, this follows a situation earlier this year where the MP's private social media account was questioned by MPs and members of the public. That social media account was titled Bible Belt Bussy, and in it there was also a photograph which included the MP's child as part of a carousel of other photographs with the caption Bussy galore. Now, the MP has strongly refuted anything untoward in regards to that, saying that Bussy galore was an in-joke and a nickname that their friends had given them. But in a statement...
yes, just a joke, Mikey. No, One News, your coverage from day one of this Member of Parliament has been a joke. Look, let's be quite clear. Nobody should receive objectionable and threatening emails. But I've received death threats previously. I know Simon O'Connor has. The media weren't interested in that, despite the fact that I've had to lodge police complaints. Unfortunately, many people in public and in the public light receive unacceptable communications on social media. I mean, you can see even some of those comments on social media, and the police will rightly deal with any legitimate threats. Emphasis on legitimate. not ones made up, like Chanel Lau sometimes did, and we question that. And interestingly, the media tells us that vitriol and threats are only aimed at female MPs. Oh, except when they do it, of course, and senior media reporters call female MPs the C word, then it's okay. But the vitriol apparently is okay against conservative leaning people, but not okay against non-binary people. I would say it's not okay against anyone. But that's a different issue to simply calling out the dangerous ideology of a politician, which is a threat to the well-being and safety of our children. And based on that, last week was a good week. The Greens became just a tiny wee bit less radical. But more importantly, Parliament became less dangerous for children. And as you've just seen from the video clips I've shown you, that's probably an understatement.